Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. Well, like I said last night, we really don't have any transmission work to do as of right now until the shift kit gets here, so I thought we'd start throwing some purdy at the engine. I do have one transmission item that I need to take care of. We'll do that in just a little while. For the most part, we're just going to start putting some of the covers on the engine. Not really ready to do a start yet and do, so we can do a hot torque on the head because I still got to put the air dog on there. So I thought we'd go ahead and put these two covers on there and then get my measurements that I need for some torque converter bolts. So I got the front timing cover all ready to go. I got my front main seal installed. There is countless videos on YouTube on how to put these in. I know there is driving tools to put these in, but I use my depth gauge and a block of wood in between two blocks of wood. That's the way I put mine in, right, wrong, or indifferent. But there is an actual seal driver that you are supposed to actually put that in from the back side, and with that laying flat on the ground, a board holding it up, and you drive it in until it hits that stop. That is a depth gauge to tell you when to stop. That way your seal is in proper alignment on your crank. Now, if your crank has a bad spot in it, you can adjust the depth of that by not putting it in till it hits that or going just a little bit past. In our case, the crank was wore to the point to where it had to have a wear sleeve, so I just put it into that depth right there, what it calls for, and we're just going to roll with it. I did go ahead and pick up some stainless hardware to put that in place. We got 3 different sizes here. They're all an 8mm by 1.5, and then I got different lengths because I'm going to go ahead and use this pan head socket head on this here also, except for a couple places where you got to have the standoffs for the injector line, so we won't be able to use these there, but for the most part we'll be able to use them a lot of places. So we're going to go ahead and throw that on there. Before we do that, I went ahead and picked up a killer dowel pin retainer. Wasn't quite as bad an issue with the 24 valves as it was with the 12 valves, but nevertheless, this one is not done, as you can see right there, so we're going to go ahead and plug it off. This is actually made to be used either way, so you can either put it in as a step like that, see how my timing case is stepped, or you can turn it over and put it in like that. You can see the head for the socket head is it's recessed for the socket head on both sides. And this was just an eBay item. See ya. This was just an eBay item that I picked up, or Amazon, not sure. If I can find on Amazon, I'll put a link in the description for this one. They're like $15, $20. They're really, really inexpensive, but really, really necessary if you're this far along. So let's go ahead and get that installed. We want to put some Loctite on there, maybe do like a 20 foot-pound torque on that. Not huge amounts, but just enough so where it will hold in place with some Loctite. Like I said, let's get this old bolt out of the way. Do a little cleaning inside there. Like I said, this will go on either this way and have it recessed, or it will go on this way and the head of your bolt will still be recessed. For me, it's going to go on just like that. Put some Loctite on the threads. And put her in place. Depending upon what style you have, you can see how I have that centered over the hole, which is fine. Some of them, it will kind of lock in there and it won't move at all. This style here, you kind of want to hold it just a little bit as you torque it in place. Now we'll go ahead and grab the timing cover and get that in place. Put your timing case on. You have 2 different length bolts, and they can tell the difference between the lengths because of the thread at the top of the hole or at the surface of the hole versus the ones like this that go all the way through into the block. What that does is actually helps hold the timing case onto the engine through the timing cover. So we'll go ahead and line this up and put this in place. You got your little insulation washer, I guess you could say, on there. You just put it right on there and slide her in place. Put one in there to hold it, and I am going to use just a little bit of Loctite on these also. This is just medium strength. This is removable. Alright, with all those bolts tight, we're going to go ahead and put the intake cover on too. I did go ahead and grab my injection lines to make sure and see which ones I need to leave out as far as the bolts. And my neighbor revving his Chevy. Anyway, you can see I have the back two has to be left out. The two right off of your intake horn has to be left out, and then the front one will be left out. So I just grabbed a Sharpie, marked them just for reference sake, so I know not to put any bolts in those 5 locations. So we can take this up there and set this in place. Just like so. And that's just adding all kinds of purdy, isn't it? I got something planned for the valve cover. I just got to see if I'm going to be able to accomplish it or not. But as you guys know, I sold my build aluminum valve cover just to help fund what's going to go behind the engine because it's getting costly, as I said. So I've got some plans for this valve cover right here. I just hope that I'm going to be able to accomplish it. If I am, I think it's going to look pretty darn cool. So right now, I think that's looking pretty damn good right there. The socket heads, the button head, socket head really sets it off nice. The only thing that might have been just a little bit better is if those were black, but I kind of like the stainless look on there. So, and I did get the same thing for the plenum cover also. So go ahead and grab my hardware and get that put on as well. Alright, everything is on and tightened up and torqued. The reason I did go ahead and put all the bolts in there, even where the grid heater goes and the intake horn, is just to make sure I have proper alignment on the gasket. And then that way when I go ahead, these have to come back out, those back ones have to come back out, and then this one front one has to come back out. So when I take those out, and obviously those have to come in also. So when I take those out and I go to put them back in, I know the gasket's going to be properly aligned. The rest of them are torqued and ready to go. So I think everything looks really, really damn good. Very, very happy with the way everything looks. I put the puke tube on there just to see how it looks, and I think we're going to have to do a little bit of change in there. I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to have to do something just a little bit different, but I'm not certain what I'm going to do yet. So did put the borrowing tool back on. That's my fleece borrowing tool. They'll have 2 different ways to bar it over. I'll have that up front, and then in the back there I did buy the borrowing tool that goes into the adapter plate for the transmission, so you can put your torque converter bolts in. So one of the last things that I want to do tonight is I have my torque converter sitting up on the bench. This is the one I had cut and cleaned up at Perfect Converters up by the Cleveland area. So I'm not certain. These are a 3/8 by 24 bolt. So, but I'm not certain on length. I've saw a lot of 3/8 by 24. I would like to get the same thing like what I have here for my ARP. This is the flex plate bolts. This is an ARP item right there. And I would like to get the same 12 point to hold the flex plate, or the flex plate to the torque converter, but I'm not having any luck finding a bolt kit that is like this from ARP. So if you guys happen to know of a item number, the ARP item number right there that I will need, leave me a comment below and let me know. So one thing I'm going to do, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my a depth micrometer, and I'm going to measure down to the bottom of the hole. That'll give me a rough idea on how long of a bolt that I actually need. Alright, what I have here, this is a depth micrometer, and this will go from 0 to 6 inches depending upon what needle length you have in. Right now I'm going to use my 1 inch because I'm pretty certain that these aren't going to be any deeper or any longer than maybe 3/4 of an inch. These are tapered. It just goes right in the end just like that. Crank it back. That's plenty. And you set it right there. And you go down until you feel it start touching. This is for fast tuning. This is for fine tuning. You can take it until you start hearing it clicking, and then that's all you need. And those bolts are just a little over a 1/2 inch long. It's 0.66. So I'm going to venture to say that's about a 5/8 long bolt. 0.66 is right around 5/8. It's 0.669 actually. You can see the decimal point is right there. If this was a 1 inch, we would be 1 inch, or if this was a 2 inch, it would be 2 inches, or say 1 inch plus 669. So right now we're just at we're at 0.669, so 0.67. So these are about a 5/8 long bolt. Yeah, so I'll go back here and grab the other bolts. This is what he had on there, what he was using. These are like a 1/2 inch long. So these will be just fine. I just wanted to get some new ones and have a little bit nicer ARP style fastener holding everything together. But I mean, for the most part, these will work just fine. These looks like a grade 8 bolt. So I don't know, maybe we'll just run these. I was just going to use some new ones. These actually don't have many miles on them, to be honest with you. Just thought it'd be a good practice to go ahead and put new bolts in, but I do have these worst case scenario. Well, I think with that's pretty much going to cover it for tonight. I'm running out of light, and I really don't have any more. I mean, I have more that I can do, but since I don't have any light outside, I don't have any more can I do. So any more that I can do. So I guess that with that being said, if you don't mind, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not already done so, and we'll talk to you guys later on.